What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 22 My Team Career Mode. This time we're at the Spanish Grand Prix. Last time out we were at the Miami Grand Prix, and after I had high hopes for that one, unfortunately it didn't quite go as well as I was hoping. I was hoping I'd at least get on the podium there, if not win it, and we only got P4. Can't be too disappointed because it's still 12 points, but I think it has enabled Lando Norris to take a bit of a swing back in my direction in the World Championship. I believe we're only separated by about a point or so at the moment. So yeah, we're going to have to hope for a good result here in Spain. We had a very good race this time last year. We started in, I think it was P21, and we ended up finishing P8. They're now asking who we want our rival to be. Our choices are Perez, Leclerc and Sainz. I don't really view any of them as my rival, to be honest, so I'm picking Sainz because he'll probably be the easiest to beat of the three, if I had to guess, at least based on the form that these drivers were carrying last year. But that said, Red Bull are having a bit of a struggle season this year, which is even more surprising given that they started with one of the fastest cars. I think they're actually 4th in the performance index now. Ferrari, who started 7th, are all the way back up to 2nd now. Mercedes have the fastest car, but they're not doing much with it. I don't think Russell and Hamilton are really in the championship fight at the moment, but you know, they could always build back into it later. Especially Russell. I think Hamilton might be getting a little bit old at this point. You have to remember we'll be in the 2024 season by this point, so Hamilton would be 39. You know, but Alonso is still working his magic, and he would be, I think, 43 by this point. So maybe I shouldn't be one to judge. We come into the race weekend proper, and I think we might have enough resource points to do an upgrade, but I'm not sure. If not, we'll definitely have enough to do one after we've gone to the practice session. So I might just, I'm leaving it till then for now, just to make sure that we definitely have enough to invest in an upgrade, and a good one that we can get on the car as quickly as possible. Right now, what we're really waiting for is getting Spec 3 Aero, which we just need $8 million in the bank to be able to purchase, so that will be coming any race now. And then we can finally max out our aero upgrades and start working on upgrading other facilities like chassis and engine.
Who are Perez, Russell and Lewis Hamilton. What an incredible practice session that was, but the fun doesn't stop here though. Join us again as the rest of the weekend unfolds.
Yeah, my pace in practice was really not very good, unfortunately. Enzo Fittipaldi was all the way up in 7th, so maybe he can have a good result come qualifying. But we need to drastically improve if we want to find ourselves in Q3 and in the sort of the top fringes of the points. Remember that my sponsor bonuses at the moment mean I have to finish in the top 5 to get any money whatsoever. I'm definitely going to be changing those to be a bit more lenient come this time, whenever I can renew my sponsorships or change my sponsorships. I'll be changing at least 2 of them for sure. I'll probably keep the one that's finished in the top 5 if I had to guess, but I might get rid of the podium and, score 10 points in a race weekend. I'll keep. But I'm going to get rid of the finish on the podium and score 15 points in a race weekend objectives, because until Fittipaldi is regularly scoring points, I really just don't see a world in which we can ever do that on a consistent basis. So yeah, we need to have a rethink about those, and I've been talking about that a lot these last few races, but the option to change them hasn't come up yet. We are now getting ready to get into qualifying, and target here. Based on that form, I just want to make it into Q3. To be honest, I was hoping to get like maybe a top 5 or something like that, but on the evidence of what I've seen, I think Q3 would be a good enough performance. We do a 117.9 as our first lap, or no, it's a 118.1, sorry, my bad. And Lando Norris is already into the 116, so we need to improve quite drastically. And on our second flying lap, we do improve a little bit, but not as much as we'd hope. So 117.5, and it's good enough in the end for P9 in qualifying 1. But hopefully we can carry that over into Q2 and get enough form in us to make it into Q3. That's the aim here. Norris and Hamilton and Verstappen and Alonso and Sainz all in the 116s. I really don't see a world in which we have the pace to get into the 116s. But I've been wrong about this kind of thing before, and we've found some form in the later qualifying sessions as I've got a bit more acclimatized to the track. You know, I do drive one practice session at least every race weekend. And still, I always find that I turn things up a bit more in qualifying. On a used set of tyres, I set a 1:17.6, so that was a pretty strong lap. And yeah, now we're going to be going for our second flying lap of Q2, and we improved by over 4 tenths. It'll be about 4.5 tenths as we come up to the line, and that is good enough to put us P7. Okay, so we are through Q3, and in the end, actually not bad. I think if I qualified P7, I'd be more than happy with that. Based on the evidence of what I'd seen. We got ahead of Verstappen on this occasion. Alonso was actually out, and it looks like the Ferraris have turned the wick up a little bit. Perez has had a good result, and yeah, the Mercedes a little bit further afield of the top four. So yeah, we definitely could be looking at maybe like a top 7, top 8, which would be all right. You know, a little bit further afield of what I want at this stage in the season. Like I said, I think as we fall down the order, it'll be harder to get back into the points. So I want to get as many as I can. I got a little bit distracted by something there, which is why that pause happened. But yeah, we do a flying lap on a used set of tyres as we usually do. It's a 1:17.8, and now we've got to try and improve as much as we can for our final flying lap. We're up as we come into Q3. About 5 tenths, or sorry, sector 3. We're by about 5 tenths, and now we're going to see if we can get a good sector 3 to improve as much as we can. And we're going to be about 8 tenths up as we cross the line here. Maybe a little bit over 8 tenths, a little bit under, not quite sure. It'll be about a 1:17.0, and it's good enough in the end to put us P6. Yeah, I think that's fair. It was the best lap we drove over the weekend for sure. We went a little bit faster than we did in Q2. I don't know how, but yeah, we managed it.
Let's review our top 3 today. Norris, Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. With qualifying complete, all that remains now is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Yeah, it's quite funny. I don't think I would have got any higher than that, even if I had done a slightly better lap. But we out-qualify Sainz in the end, which is nice, because it means that we get a good start to this rivalry, which he probably should be winning in a much faster car than we have. But you know, I can't remember who it was that I beat in a rivalry. I think it was Russell last season, and he's the only rival I've beaten so far across this entire career mode. So yeah, we will see whether we can beat Sainz in this rivalry or not, and whether we can beat Sainz in this race or not, for that matter. I think he's going to be pretty fast. It is his home Grand Prix after all. And yeah, now we're just gearing up, getting ready for the race, and yeah, hopefully we can capitalize on our P6 and maybe get into at least P5 to get at least one of those sponsor targets met.
The Spanish Grand Prix has been a permanent fixture on the Formula One calendar for over 30 years now, and for good reason. Do you remember Michael Schumacher's absolute dominance here in that rain-soaked Grand Prix in 1996? That day, he took his first ever victory for Ferrari, and we've had many more iconic moments since. The Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya then, a high-speed 2.89-mile circuit which demands an efficient downforce package and bravery on the part of the driver, especially through the blind right of turn 9, which we might just see taken flat out this weekend. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Perez, George Russell, Robinson, Gasly, Sainz, Hamilton and Lance Stroll, Albon, Ocon, Fernando Alonso and Tsunoda, Magnussen, Lundgaard, Nicholas Latifi and Daniel Ricciardo. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Schwartzman, Mick Schumacher, Joe, Enzo Fittipaldi. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race.
Okay, now that we've got some good points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Yep. He wants a top 10 finish. I want to get at least, I don't know, P7 maybe. try not to lose too many points to Norris in the championship, and then see if we can maybe try and swing it back in our direction once we get to some of my stronger races, which are just around the corner. We've got to get through Monaco and the like first, but you know, then we got Baku, which is a race that I typically do at least alright at. You got Britain shortly after that. Austria can sometimes go okay. France is a specialty of mine. I'm trying to think what else is after that. A little bit later after the break, you got the likes of Belgium and Zandvoort, where I of course got my first win. So yeah, we are getting into a phase of the season which I'm much more comfortable in than the one that has Imola, Spain, Monaco in a very short space of time. So yeah, that is something I'm looking forward to. But we've got to get through the Spanish Grand Prix first, park up on the grid, and we are, you know, in a good position to hopefully maybe jump a couple people in front of us off the start. We warmed up our tyres as usual, and we've got a couple cars starting behind us on the soft tyres, so we need to be wary of those. And yeah, just try and do what we can to keep them behind if we can. But if not, then there's not much we can do really. Sainz has had an excellent start, and he's already alongside us as we get off the line, and he is probably going to take this position quite quickly with those soft tyres, I imagine. So we'll just see what we can do to keep him behind. But I think, unfortunately, yeah, that is the superior strategy. He just has way more grip through that corner, as does the other soft compound starter behind us, Lance Stroll. He's going to be up into P7 off the start. I don't even remember where Stroll started, but yeah, he was rapid out of the gate there. We try to go around him on the outside of, I think that's turn 5, but yeah, he has just a tiny bit too much grip and a bit too much traction out of the corner. I have to check to make sure I don't have any damage, because we did make a tiny bit of contact with him, but we're okay for now. And now the car that we have to worry about is none other than Pierre Gasly, who is just behind us in P9 in that AlphaTauri, which has slid down the order so much. It was like a drop slide, the way it went from P3 in the power rankings to P10, I believe it's in now. A very unfortunate fall in a very short space of time, but that is the nature of regulation changes. The index can look very different from one race to the next. And then we now move on to lap 3, and Pierre Gasly is going to have DRS on this occasion because it's been enabled, and we'll see if he's going to attack us into turn 11, I believe this is. He does, and we'll see if we can hold on. We are on the same compound of tyres. We got Hamilton and Albon behind on the soft compound tyres, so we need to potentially worry about them as well. Stroll is not dropping us that much, but he is out of DRS range for the time being, so I am going to have a bit of a task on my hands if I want to keep ahead of Gasly. But I do manage it. I think Gasly has fallen off to the soft compound runners a little bit now, and we are now under pressure from Hamilton as we move a little bit further through the race to lap 10, and yeah, he is attacking us quite hard as we come down into turn 11, but we just about managed to keep him behind on this occasion. But I imagine that we will be under pressure from him every lap now until his box lap, most likely. So that's something that we get to look forward to. But for now, we'll do what we can to maintain the gap. We move up as a position as Stroll comes into the pits. We'll see if anyone else on the soft tyres has come in or not. I don't think so, but yeah, we gain one position off the back of that. Fittipaldi is also in the pits, so I can only assume he started on the soft compound tyres. But we are not stopping until about lap 16 or so, I think, because we are on the medium compound tyres, and we're doing a medium hard. I think these guys are probably doing a soft medium. It's amazing that they can get the mediums to go that far, but they may suffer quite dramatically towards the end of the race. Hamilton is attacking us into turn 10, and on the run down to turn 11 on this occasion, he will have the DRS. We're going to try and keep our foot in, slam the brakes. There's a bit more grip and a bit more life in the tyres than he has, and so we are able to retain P6 for now. And yeah, I'm sure we won't have to worry about him for too much longer. If some of the soft compound runners are coming into the pits, it won't be long before Hamilton comes in as well, as we round these last few corners of the lap. And we can see now Hamilton does peel off into the pit lane to change onto a set of medium compound tyres. But he's not the only one. The race leaders are also in, as Leclerc pits from, I think he was in P2 to Lando Norris at the time, but I could be wrong about that. Maybe it was Verstappen that was up there. They've now all come in, And as we move on to lap 15, you see I'm under immense pressure from Norris, who has stopped and is on a fresh set of medium compound tyres behind us. Half tempted to take him out of the race to protect my championship position, but I believe in fairness and sportsmanship, so I am I'm not going to do that, and we'll just have to suffer the time loss that we get from kind of having a bit of a battle with him there, and hope that it didn't hold us up too much. Yeah, this race is going by quite quickly. There wasn't too much that happened in it, mostly just me trying to defend position and having various degrees of success in that. We're now under pressure from Leclerc, but we do have the DRS. We're boxing at the end of this lap, so hopefully we can hold off Leclerc for at least a little bit of the lap. With the DRS on Norris, we at least managed to hold him off through the pit straight, which we probably wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. But as I said, he's on much stronger tyres, so he will have a pace advantage over myself. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Verstappen, I think, has already boxed as well, but he's a little bit far afield of the rest of them, down in sort of 7 seconds behind these guys now. I don't know if he got held up in the pits or what happened, or maybe he just didn't have the pace to contend with them, but yeah, he's not doing so well in this race. I think Perez is in the lead at the moment, but he's yet to box, so we'll see where he shakes out as well. And yeah, we get overtaken by Leclerc just because we don't have the life in the tyres. It was a question of when rather than if, and we're going to come into pit on this occasion. They're already a pit stop in front of me, which is it's kind of crazy to think I can race with these guys one weekend and then not even be able to stay in their pit window another race. But that's the nature of the car we're driving. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's slow. Spain is a very balanced track, and therefore exposes the weaknesses in our cars quite a lot. We're only, the 6th or 7th best car in the performance index, so it's to be expected that we're going to struggle on a more balanced track, and it's only on tracks where our car's strengths are played up that we're going to be doing well. We now come into the pits to fit the hard compound tyres. Hopefully there won't be any issues and we can get them on quite quickly. That looked a tiny bit slow, but yeah, it was a 2.9. It's not too bad in the end. Anything sub 3 seconds is takeable. It looks like Hamilton with his pit has massively cut a gap to us, which I guess makes sense because he was on the soft tyres and then he's had 5 laps of medium compound running. I wasn't expecting the gap to be quite as pronounced as it is, but I guess it checks out because I was battling with some of the cars around me, and now we speed through to lap 23. This is Lando Norris in the lead of the race. Out of the race, that's right, he is out of the Grand Prix, and that is actually huge for our championship chances. He's our major championship rival at the moment, and he will be scoring no points, and it promotes us 1 position up the order, which means we'll be scoring extra points. We're now in P6, and his teammate Daniel Ricciardo is going to have to try and do everything he can to make sure that he can minimise the damage to Norris's championship chances. I think this could be one of Ricciardo's last seasons in Formula 1, if I had to guess. He's getting on a little bit by this point, and he has been nowhere near as competitive as Lando Norris. Lando Norris was a shoe-in for the championship last season. Obviously, he didn't end up winning it, but he did win quite a few races. And Ricciardo, I think, had maybe a podium or two, but it definitely wasn't quite what you'd want. I really tried to squeeze Ricciardo as hard as I could there to retain the position, but he wasn't budging, and I thought there was probably going to be a crash if I didn't back out of the move. So I backed out of the move, and now we're down into P7. It's not the end of the world, because the difference between P6 and P7, there's no money in it or anything for me, unless I lose a championship position by 2 points, in which case I might be kicking myself that I didn't fight that one a little bit harder. But it's not something I'm going to worry about too much at the moment, because Daniel Ricciardo, he's in the McLaren. The McLaren has far superior pace to us on a track like this, and we'll just see if we can keep the pace up to maintain the gap between us and the Red Bull of Max Verstappen behind. I'm not even sure how he got behind us. I became aware of it once, and then yeah, he was just there. We've managed to keep the gap pretty stable for now. We've fallen out of Ricciardo's DRS range, so we're going to have to do the rest of this race on battery, but we do have quite a lot of it saved up, so we can pretty much burn it wherever we want for the rest of the Grand Prix. And other than that, it's just a case of kind of bringing it home to the finish. If we can catch Ricciardo, that would be fantastic, but I don't think it's going to be possible. His mediums will be going off a little bit, but maybe not too much, to the point that we'll be able to reel him in, especially because he is faster through the slightly more technical parts of the lap. like the sort of midpoint of Sector 2 and pretty much all of Sector 3. He pulls away from us a little bit as we now get on to the final lap of the race, and we will see if we can consolidate this P7, bring home 6 points, and hopefully keep our lead on the championship, given that Norris is out of this. I know that there wasn't really anyone else that was particularly competitive in the championship, but you know, with neither championship protagonist doing particularly well this time around, perhaps that gives some scope for some other characters to kind of enter into the fray. Leclerc wins the race, as you see, and we are now just bringing it home through the last few corners. And as we come up to the line, Ricciardo obviously finishes P6, and here we are, we're about to cross the line, and it will be a P7 finish for us. So not a bad result in the end, but not exactly what I wanted. But we, like I said, we don't lose anywhere near as many points as we would have done if Norris had finished the race. That would have been a 21-point swing for Norris, if not in his favour, but instead it's a 6-point swing in my favour, so I will definitely take it. And yeah, Leclerc comes home to win the race, and that's his second race in a row, actually, race win in a row, so maybe he will be emerging as a championship favourite once again.
To the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Here come our winners now, a thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
Sainz ended up getting P2 there, which is a bit of a surprise, I would say, given that he started P8, and Russell came home for P3, which isn't too much of a surprise because I think he started a little bit higher up. But yeah, Sainz had a massive recovery there. I think he'd be pretty happy with that, given that it's his home Grand Prix. I'm sure he would have liked to win it, but to even get back on the podium after starting so low down, you can't be too dissatisfied with. So yeah, you can see how pleased he is there on the podium.
And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Charles Leclerc assumes the lead in the standings after today's outstanding results. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Natalie Pinkham, come on, who do you pick?
Daniel Ricciardo certainly impressed me today. An incredible performance.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Ferrari take the lead at the top of the table. Meanwhile, a strong weekend from Red Bull this time out, and they improve their position in the championship. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One, so be sure to join us for the next one.
So yeah, Leclerc, in a turn up for the books, Leclerc has actually taken the lead of the World Championship by 1 point over myself, which means I am going to need to outperform him in his home race if I want to swing the championship back in my direction. And yeah, not quite what I was expecting. I was thinking I would be in the lead of the championship once again, but yeah, it's a close fought thing between myself, Leclerc and Norris right now. Norris, of course, losing out a tiny bit in this Grand Prix, and to add insult to injury, we've also dropped down a position in the constructors' standings because Red Bull had a decent weekend. Not a great one. Verstappen finished 8th, but I think Perez was either 4th or 5th, which yeah, means they outscored us a little bit, and they are 2 points ahead of us in the constructors' standings. Monaco's coming up next, which is, I mean, I don't think I even have to talk about that. You know how that's going to go. Last year we were very fortunate to get a P9 finish there. I think it's going to be a similar situation this time around. I think anything higher than P8, P9 will be a fantastic result. So we'll see what happens there. But to say I lack enthusiasm about it would be an understatement. But you never know in Formula One. You know, like I said, I had a race that I had there where I once came P2 because of a big pile up with a lot of the leaders. I was running in like P8 or P9 for a lot of it when I was in a championship contending car, and then all of a sudden a bunch of cars crashed and had to pit, and I found myself in P2, and that was the first podium I ever got at Monaco, which was, you know, a bit of a fortunate circumstance, but anything can happen, especially at a track so prone to safety cars like Monaco. So we will see how that one goes. And yeah, for now, it's a pretty heated championship fight. I think you'll probably agree. You know, it's been very close between myself, Leclerc, and Norris for who's going to win this championship. And after 7 races, I really would be impressed if you were trying to call it this early as to who's going to win it. Like I said, I think I needed to have a bit more of a gap built out by this point than I currently have. So I think it's going to be quite difficult for us to maintain this sort of position in the championship if we can't develop the car any further over the course of the season. But we'll worry about that when that comes to it. Anyway, that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe. And hopefully, I will see you in the next one.